Right, so in this video, I'm definitely me and you're you, right?
I'll be you, you be me.
No.
I'm dark.
No, we can't, you're you.
Right.
Can you just be you and I just be me?
That's just easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got a little bit confusing.
You got to work with, yeah, it was. What fun though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No, it's good.
Hi everybody, welcome back to FRAG-MENTAL. Special guest on the channel today. He has brought gifts, as you might know.
I think that's an overestimation of what this is, Chris, but yeah, sure, it's a gift.
We're talking about Sauvage Parfum, which I've not yet smelled, so we thought it would be a good idea to have my first impressions on camera.
Yes.
Stay tuned to FM. So George, welcome to FRAG-MENTAL Studios.
You know what? Yeah.
AKA my house.
It's great. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously not the first time you've been here.
Or is it?
Already filmed a review.
Did you? Was I here? I'm sorry, we've already done that.
Green
yeah.
screen?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great place to be.
Always a pleasure to have George here. So George has brought Dior Sauvage Parfum.
Yes.
I think we all know what George's opinions are if you've followed his videos over the last week or so.
Yeah.
What are your opinions, just in case anyone hasn't seen?
I think it's pretty much trash, but the opening's very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't really smell it after like an hour.
So what I thought we'd do is we're gonna get first impressions. We're gonna get my first impressions on the opening. I will compare it to the previous two iterations of Sauvage that I have. So I've got the EDT, so I'm going to spray that on there.
Oh God.
And I've got the EDP.
This is going to be living.
Which I'm going to spray.
This is going to be like a
Let's
personal.
just have a little shot of them all together.
This can be quite a.
The whole family. There we go. Yeah. Now, where I stand on these two is, I enjoy Sauvage EDT.
Okay.
I think I enjoy it because I discovered it at a time where I was starting to get more into fragrances, and I appreciated the fact that it lasted, it performed, and it smelled nice.
Yeah, that's a decent excuse. Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy the parfum. That's the the eau de parfum.
I haven't smelt the eau de parfum as much, but I remember liking it. So
yeah, have a little smell. So I like the EDP. It retains the performance of Sauvage, and that it retains that Sauvage DNA. But I found, well, what do you think?
I just think it just smells of Lynx Africa body wash, but for a ridiculous amount of money.
I don't think you're far off the mark with that. I like Africa.
I like saving money.
Yeah.
And not having to pay a ridiculous amount of money. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative. This is me. You knew what you signed up for, right?
Yeah.
You see, I do like the EDP a bit more. I don't like it. Right, the EDT.
Yeah.
I just don't get that.
No.
I just think it's talcum powder.
It's a slightly thinner scent, and it's got that famous screechy opening that people say, which is it's just a bit livelier in the opening, I think, whereas the EDP is smoother, rounder, a bit deeper.
Yes.
I think there's some nutmeg in there as well. So
I think that out of all three of them, the EDP is the one that I actually like. Yeah. You know, I could say safely that I'm going towards because that's a lot more full-bodied. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So I'm just going to remind myself again of these two. Definitely EDP is definitely working better off my skin. Let's test the parfum, shall we?
So do you want me to?
On the arm there.
Right on the vein. Pretty good spritzer though, isn't it?
The spritzers are great.
Spritzers
are good.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like this bombastic mental opening, and it's just like right, but then suddenly it just kind of disappears.
You know what? It doesn't. I think in the air I smelled something.
Yes, that's the weird thing.
But now I'm digging in.
Yeah, right. It's weird.
Yeah, that's so. So if I just need to clear my nose here.
Do you want me to get your coffee bean?
I just want to make doubly sure that what I'm experiencing is correct. Okay, so. You know, if I didn't really know these fragrances and I went to someone and said, tell me which is the Parfum and which is the Eau de Parfum out of these two, I would say the Eau de Parfum has more in common with the characteristics associated with a Parfum fragrance than the Parfum.
Yes.
This feels lighter.
Yes.
This almost feels lighter than the EDT.
Yes. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank goodness.
It's got a weird. You see, this is. We talk about the screechiness.
Yes.
Of this, but this is smoother.
Yeah.
In the opening.
It's mad, isn't it?
This is like a light, thin, diluted.
It's like it's just turned all the way down.
Yeah.
Now the opening is like, you know, it's like an explosion.
I didn't even get an explosion.
And then it just suddenly dies. This thing, like in minutes. You know.
Yeah. That's strange. It's not what I would have expected from a Parfum. So the Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel, that you get that richer, deeper, stronger. I know it doesn't project as much, but there's not as much alcohol in there. It's
a lot bolder as the Bleu de Chanel. I mean, I think that both of them are, you know, pretty generic scents. I prefer the Bleu de Chanel, but that one is just like, hang on a minute, what?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It is lighter and talkier than both of these.
Well, you saw my reaction, didn't you? And your reaction was literally the same as mine.
Yeah.
Which is just like, oh, hang on.
Yeah, it's not what I expected.
No, it's not.
I just want to say, you know, I wanted, if anything, I thought it might be quite fun if my view conflicted with George's and we could have a fight on camera. So I obviously wasn't going to be swayed by what George said. I've seen other reviews online, and there has been a mix, but I think largely it's been siding with what you've said.
And Timmy and Sebastian.
It's just a bit of nothing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's just not much going on. I mean, I'm used to spraying Sauvage and getting a big scent bubble.
Is this going to be released after tomorrow, Sunday?
Yeah.
Right, so I'm allowed to say that Jeremy Fragrance's Office for Men completely beat the stuffing out of this.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, having worn both of these now.
Yeah, because it's almost by default, because like with Office for Men, at least you can smell it.
Yeah.
You know, at least there's something there. It's not some kind of crazy kind of deal. It's literally just common sense. Like that, you know, a parfum should be like really deepening, you know, like. But this, yeah, I was shocked. I know that what you just said there, where you were like you wanted to have a fight on camera. I wanted to like it as well, because I thought, all right, parfum, let's go.
Spent what, 70 quid on it?
Yeah, that as well. Yeah. Anyway, I know that's quite a little bit disappointing and everything like that, and not quite what you expected, but I knew that you might be disappointed, so I decided to remedy that. I would like your first impressions on this. So it's my birthday soon. I'm going to be turning 27, so I brought this for us.
What is it? Tell the viewers out there, what have you brought?
Well, it's, I don't know if it's pure parfum concentration, but its alcohol's content is quite high.
Let's take a look at the bottle and the notes. This is not the biggest bottle of fragrance you've ever seen in your life. This is whiskey.
This is whiskey, yes.
And is there another reason you brought the whiskey?
Well, to get heavily drunk, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to do
you,
that. Yeah.
And Pete. Well, Pete doesn't drink, but
are we opening it now?
Yes. Could we? I would like your first impression on this.
Fine. Right. Joe, it's a bit hard to open. Just let me know if you need a hand.
But I mean, you go to the gym. This isn't fair. Oh, I did it.
Have you done it?
Yeah, I've been going gym as well. There we go. Oh, I got the sound. So glasses, please.
If only we had a couple of glasses with ice cubes in. There we go.
Oh my goodness! How do you do that? It's like we planned it or something. So there you go. And a bit of the cold water is like really nice and works. So there you go. This is Gentleman Jack Daniels. This is a more expensive version of Jack. It's far superior to Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels tastes like cheap rubbish compared to this.
Smells great.
Yeah, this is like proper Kentucky whiskey. Tennessee, sorry.
First impressions, scent-wise, I would say it's very smooth.
Yeah, it is. It's I believe it's double charcoal mellowed.
Cheers.
Cheers. And so it's kind of like, because of that, it's got a really woody. Let's just drink it.
Bayek. That's a good one, that. Oh, nip, 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 nip.
Oh, it's when it goes down, right?
Yeah, but that's smooth, actually.
It's delicious, it's smooth. You get great longevity.
Yeah.
After about 3 whiskies.
Yeah.
And then you just fall to the ground usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, for real.
And it probably for me it will last all through the next day as well. Probably until I'll probably have a shower at the end of the next day, and I'll still have the remnants of this in my system. So I think it's safe to say that longevity will be.
Oh, longevity is great. Projection, well, I mean, just eat beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll be fine. But yeah, it's double chocolate mellowed, and that's why it's got kind of like the woodier single. It's like a single malt kind of deal with Tennessee. It's amazing. Now, here's the real question. Which do you prefer, this whiskey or the Sauvage Parfum?
Oh, I mean, that's a pretty easy decision to make. Yeah, it's the whiskey.
It's the whiskey.
Now I've had a drink, let me just... Oh, it's like, there's almost a dirty edge to it as well. You know? It's definitely not as smooth or as sweet as
I'm going to say something, right? I feel bad for Sauvage fans. I'm not a Sauvage fan myself, obviously. But I was rooting because I know that Sauvage has got a huge fan base. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of, like, I don't know, football, but like, I want England to, you know, win or whatever, you know, and you know, I feel bad for people if they don't, or all that kind of stuff. So I wanted it to be a good Sauvage for Sauvage fans, and I feel as though, you know, you've probably been let down. Yeah, it's not what I would have expected from this release at all. Should we wrap this section of the video up anyway? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to nick a little bit of this off George, and I don't think it's fair to condemn this fragrance off this very first impression. And this is that I haven't smelt this before this video. So I'm going to get a little bit and wear it for probably a week or so and see if my opinion changes, and I'm going to come back a little bit later, so I'm going to add a little bit after this section of the video to give a conclusion of my thoughts and a bit more of an in-depth response, not just first impressions. So thanks for bringing it, George. Thanks for coming on, Fragmental. Final cheers. Yeah, cheers. And it's I think that by the time this will be released, I'll be 27. You're getting on now, mate. I know, mate. Yeah, I'm a couple of years older than you. Are you? Yeah. So that was a week ago. The Fragrance Apprentice is long gone. Whenever he comes here, he usually forgets something and leaves it behind, so thanks for the t-shirt, George. I think it suits me. So in the week that's gone since we filmed that first part, I've been comparing the new parfum more to the EDT and the EDP, and also I've been wearing it on its own, which has been very useful because I think in the previous stuff that I filmed with George, the strength of the projection of these two, I think, was getting in the way of me appreciating some of the nuances of the parfum, which I've been able to do this week. With each of these Sauvage flankers that's released, there are some note changes. There is an additional note here of mandarin in the top of this, which I think adds something really nice to the composition. It's got a rich, deep, very sweet nature to it compared to the other two. I think this is probably the sweetest. Comes off almost like a blood orange, so almost like a sweet, sensual vibe to it. Still has the bergamot as the EDT and the EDP do. That's kind of one of the signature notes of Sauvage. But it doesn't have what some people refer to as this metallic screechiness. So the EDT had that quite a lot. The EDP really dialed it down to make it acceptable for some people, but it was kind of still there. The Parfum version seems to completely lose that. So it does retain that Sauvage DNA, but overall it's definitely a softer and smoother scent. It doesn't have the performance of the other two, but I find the composition to be quite a delicate and elegant structure, and I think if the volume of the parfum was dialed up any more, then you might lose these aspects, which I really like about this parfum version. So other notes that have changed are in the base, and we have some tonka bean and some olibanum or frankincense. So you get a lovely kind of syrupy sweetness from the tonka bean, which just pairs really nicely with the kind of sweet resinous, slightly mysterious quality that the frankincense has. I wore this for an 8-hour day, and I have to say I wasn't too disappointed in the performance. Wearing it on its own,
not directly comparing it or allowing it to compete with the louder EDT and EDP, it was okay. I was getting fairly regular wafts throughout the day. At the end of this 8-hour working day, I was still very much aware that I was wearing Sauvage. Projection, obviously it's not as loud in the opening as the other two, but I was getting a reasonable 2 hours or so. I walked into the voiceover studio, and a colleague that I was working with complimented me on the scent I was wearing that day. Complimented me. And I think I'd sprayed it around 2 hours before that, so it was projecting somewhat. Although when she greeted me, we were, pretty close. So I think if she'd have been stood a couple of meters away from me, it might not have been quite as detectable, but certainly more up close. So it's definitely a more intimate scent than the other two. Having said that, with it being a parfum version and being higher concentration, I did really want it to last a little bit longer. I know that sometimes with the parfum concentration, it doesn't necessarily mean it will project more because there is less perfumer's alcohol involved in the composition, so it's not radiating off the skin in quite the same way. But I would have expected the skin scent to be stronger, and sometimes when you've got a really strong skin scent, that is giving off some projection as well throughout the life of the fragrance. I find that with Roger Parfum's Enigma, I have the EDP and the Parfum, and I find that the Parfum concentration is so strong and so rich that that allows it to project pretty much through the whole life you're wearing it. So I don't really get that with this, so I would have liked it to have been a bit stronger, but as I've already said, I just wonder if this kind of slightly more fragile, delicate composition may be compromised if it had have been made stronger. You know what? I actually quite like the smell of this new Parfum version. It definitely has that characteristic Sauvage smell. It's deeper, it's sweeter, and a little bit more elegant than that, and it doesn't have that slightly screechy, loud opening, particularly that the EDT has. The interesting thing for me is that if the Parfum version had been released as a standalone fragrance, if the other two, if the EDT and the EDP didn't exist and this just came out as a fragrance and was allowed to stand on its own merits and not be compared to the other two, I think it would have generated a more positive response, and I think generally it would be getting pretty positive reviews because I think it is a pretty nice fragrance. It's being compared to two very popular releases from Dior, two very strong performing releases as well. So these fragrances have the complement factor because they are so strong. I think the EDT is the strongest performing EDT that I've ever come across. For an EDT, I think it's pretty remarkable, actually. So this Parfum version is going to have a little bit of a harder time being compared to those fragrances. Should you buy it? Well, if you have the EDT or the EDP and you don't have a problem with the openings of those, this metallic, so-called metallic screechiness, if you're fine with that, then I don't think you would benefit from having the Parfum. I don't think it deviates enough from the Sauvage DNA for you to own both. If you're happy with either of these two, then I think in the air, overall, particularly after the opening, I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference. But if you are somebody who thinks the opening of these is a little bit too much, a little bit too loud, and the overall performance is just a bit too big, if it's projecting too much, if you're worried that wearing these you're choking people out, then I think the Parfum version may be worth looking into because it isn't radiating as much. It's definitely closer into the skin. It's a more intimate scent, and the opening certainly is much more palatable. So you're not going to cloud out a whole room when you walk in wearing the Parfum. So if you're one of those people who think the other two are a bit too strong, then try and sample the Parfum if you can, because if you like that Sauvage DNA, then I think this could be the version for you. I'm actually okay with the opening of both the EDT and the EDP. I do prefer the EDP. I like the fact that the opening is just slightly dialed down, and I like its richer, more sensual notes. I do still wear both of these. So because the Parfum does have that Sauvage DNA, and in the air, I think people would pretty much just think you're wearing any of the Sauvages. I don't think it would be worth me having the Parfum, so I won't be buying it. So out of all the 3 Sauvage releases, the EDP is my favourite. I think it's the most balanced of all of them, and I think you get the best combination of scent and performance. So there are my thoughts on Sauvage. I'd love to hear what you think of it. There's been a bit of a mixed response. I've heard some people really think that the Parfum is the definitive version of Sauvage, that they've just been working their way up to creating the perfect blend with this one. Other people have said that you know, they don't like it, they think it's too weak for a Parfum, and yet the performance is less, but when you really explore the nuances, like I've said, I think it does have this lovely elegance to it. Because of that fact, I think it would be a great fragrance to wear on a date night when you're perhaps in a more intimate situation with somebody. It's very versatile, it would work anytime. I wore it through the day, I wore it as a day scent, and it worked pretty well for me, so it does have that versatility. You could wear it certainly any time of the year as well. So let me know what you think of the new Parfum. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's get as many opinions on this one as we can, so it helps as many people out who might be thinking of buying this fragrance. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it useful. Let me know what you think of this t-shirt. Who does it suit best, me or George? Should I give it back to him? I don't know. Thank you for watching, everybody. Remember, keep tuning into FM and keep smelling good.
That's
the intro.
I could just sing the theme tune for you, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what you did.
I could just do something. Anyway, sorry, go on. Yeah.